All right, let me just pull up my Twitch channel real quick, make sure it launched.
Oh, it says you're streaming.
Perfect. All right, there we go.
Oh man, I could have been in that chat the whole time. I didn't know how to find it until you actually started streaming.
Yeah, there is a chat once it goes live. All right, everybody, we are live. Thank you very much. I'm really excited about today. My name is Brad Nesser. You guys know me on the digital felt as Braulio84. Today, I am very fortunate to have very special guests from the LA Poker Roundup, Derek Kwan and Ty Dobbertin. Thank you very much for being here. You'll notice in the chat, I even got a couple emotes for you. I created some emotes for you guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, check this
Oh,
out.
that's cool.
Check
How
this
do we
out.
use those?
There's that one. There's Ty. And there's Derek. I
that's
some
awesome.
emotes. So I'll make sure that when everybody comes in, I'll make sure they know to use them. And I got some things to share with you guys. I'm going to put up for starters, I'm going to put the link. It's ! swag. It's going to drop a link in here.
Ah, beautiful.
And that's going to be the link that we're going to see for the duration of the show here in the bottom left corner. And I will go through that with you guys. And I'm sure Derek and Ty will help us navigate the site as well. Lots of cool stuff on this site. Very interactive. You kind of go over this, kind of shows the different colors. But
cool.
We're going to
Am I doing something wrong? Are you supposed to be in the Twitch window right now? I don't see it coming through. Or I don't have anything to mute.
Try going back into my channel or just like refresh it or click on my name.
Yeah, let me try the refresh there and see if that helps. All right, I'm getting an ad now. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah, right. my channel does look like it's live. Are you able to see, Derek?
Yeah. I see a black screen.
Okay, try refresh.
Oh,
I see it now. It's coming up now.
Cool.
Beautiful.
Cool. And so a little funny story about this picture in the bottom right, and then we'll dive right in. So this bottom right picture is my background that I use from day one, that I've used as my background for my stream. So I'm constantly putting tables up and pulling them off. So rather than just having a black screen, I like to have something back there to see. And it was like really cool picture because you can see Club WPT in the background. You got the headphones when they had a partnership with Monster. There's piles of money in the WPT trophy. And then I didn't realize, so I was going to scrap this for my show today with you guys, and I go to scrap this, all the stuff on that I had as I call it a stage, right? And I notice the trophy that's in the image, the background. This was at Commerce.
You got a Remington
and
there,
there's a Remington there. I was like, I gotta leave it. I gotta leave this somehow. So as I pull stuff up. We're going to talk about Derek's Remington that he won. I was like, I'm going to make sure that he's even underneath the Remington.
Yeah, what the heck are they doing with the Remington and that WPT? That's awesome. Was this at Commerce, this WPT picture?
It must have been.
Yeah,
it's gotta be.
It was a while back. They had, I know, what's his name? I think won, Esfandiari won his WPT there, I think, back in the day.
Gotcha. Very cool.
But yeah, I was like, we got to use that. So appreciate you guys being here again. Warm welcome, everybody in the chat. Make sure you show Derek and Ty some love. So what I want to do is I really kind of want to just I want to let the world know about who you guys are, and I think the best way to do that is just kind of start from the beginning. I know you guys are currently in LA. You guys got a lot going on, and I want the world to know about it. Let's start with Ty. Where are you from? I know you're not originally from Southern California. And then how did you make your way to California? How long you been out there? And, just the very beginning.
Sure. Yeah, no problem, man. So I'm actually from upstate New York, like over near Rochester, Buffalo area. So I grew up there, and I went to school down in Baltimore. So I was in Baltimore actually after school, I stayed and worked there for a while. So I was in Baltimore for around 8 years or so. And, college is when I started playing poker. And I was in college right after, I turned 21 like a couple of years after the whole moneymaker business. So they were showing the reruns on ESPN, and all of the excitement was there, right? So everybody was getting into it.
Absolutely.
So always been a gamer. Definitely fell in love with poker, but being in college, most of my friends were kind of too broke to really play a ton. We played once a week or whatever, right? It was good. So lived in Baltimore, worked in Baltimore for a while. Then I moved to Philadelphia, and I lived there for a while. I worked up there for about another 7.5 years or so. Right near the tail end of me living up there is when all of the we call them commuter casinos, right? So when they changed the laws
Right.
and um, they let Pennsylvania, Maryland was starting to do it. Delaware already had a casino. All of the kind of, we call it the tri-state area. They were all opening up real casinos, mostly based around their horse tracks at the time, but they're opening up full-scale casinos, not just on like reservations and stuff. So there's some really big poker rooms that started opening up around me the last couple of years I was living over there in Philly. So like Parks, there was a Harrah's down there. There was
Right.
what was originally Sugar House, I believe is now called Rivers, right in Philly, and now they have like a Philly Live. That wasn't open when I left, but lots of card rooms. So I was playing before I left. I had gotten back into poker, been playing a ton of kind of low stakes cash, mildly dipping my toe in a tournament here and there, but for the most part, just grinding a lot of low stakes cash over there.
Right.
So lived there for like another 7 years, and then I started working for my current company. I got transferred, and I got myself transferred out to California because I decided, hey, I've been on the East Coast my whole life. Let's try this. Let's try this Los Angeles thing out. So a lot of my hobbies aligned well with Los Angeles,
Right.
poker included, of course.
Right.
So I
Right.
got myself out here about 8 years ago. So I've been out here for about 8 years. I'm up here in Santa Clarita now. But yeah, so basically I came out. I was fortunate to be able to get transferred through work. They helped me cover a lot of the pain and the hassle and the expenses. So I've been out here still with the same job there, or the same company rather. I guess I've changed jobs a few times, and yeah, been really diving back into the poker scene, as everyone probably is well aware. For basically just before COVID, I really started getting back into it, kind of both feet in, kind of full on. Before that, I was just sort of playing maybe once or twice a month tops around here, just playing some cash here and there. But you know how it is when you get bit by the tournament bug.
Right. Right. Especially early on when you first start playing. Right.
Right. Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, this was not. I was definitely wish I had gotten bit by it earlier.
I know, I know. Me
But
too. Me, to be honest, me too. Because I like you, I came from a cash game background. I only played cash. I like very, very minor, like dabbling into tournaments. Like almost kind of like what you said. Right before COVID happened, I actually started mixing. I was playing cash, and then I would go into a tournament, which honestly I think that was kind of messy, but that's neither here nor there. But after COVID happened and came back out of it, I was like, you know what? I've really never given myself a fair shot at tournaments exclusively, and I basically hardly play cash anymore.
yeah, not same. We're very much the same way. As like a lifelong gamer, I was one of those hardcore Magic the Gathering kids. Played a lot of those tournaments back in my 20s and my later teen years. Um, traveled around, played the circuits for those, and played a couple pro tours. So tournaments definitely appeal more to my competitive and just like get a trophy, get a win, be a champion
Right.
kind of mentality.
Absolutely. To that point, I'll tell you, like I spent, thousands of hours in the cash world for before I started playing tournaments, and it just really, honestly, began to feel like a job, and like I was just
Oh,
clocking
for
in,
sure.
clocking out. There was no real end game, to be honest. Sure, obviously being profitable, but like session for session, like it was just kind of like lost sight of my goal. And I'm competitive as hell, and tournaments like there is an end in sight, and it's a miserable road there, but I like it. It keeps you going, and it's like there's something to like go for, and a lot lower risk financially, but it's a lot. It's a lot of pain that you're gonna have to go through along the way.
Yeah, and
Um,
the upside is definitely
it
there.
is. It is absolutely. So yeah, no, that's great points. I love tournament poker, and it's really cool, man. I'm not. I'm in Arizona now. I'm originally from Southern California, so I kind of did the opposite you guys did. I moved out with my wife and kids, and I've been out here. I'm a transplant native here in Arizona now. I've been here for 18 years, something like that. So this is home to me now. But I cut my teeth over there in Commerce, the Bike, Hawaiian Gardens. Those were my three favorite places. I don't know if you guys were out there before the renovations, but I used to play at the Gardens when it was at the had like the tents.
Oh,
Uh,
Yeah.
I missed that myself.
Bad times. Those are bad times.
yeah. So, but yeah. So, Derek, just tell me about yourself as well. Where are you originally from? What brought you to California? How long you been out here? And what got you into poker?
Yeah. So I'm also an East Coaster, originally from New York, Yonkers, New York specifically. And I was working in like a tech job. Way back when, and then I just kind of got sick of it and decided I want to just pack up my car and leave. And I'd been in New York my entire life, and I actually just drove cross country without a destination. It's pretty fun, just
That's
I mean,
cool, man.
a lot of the middle states is just flat plains, but it was
Yeah. You just see forever.
You're
I
like, why
just
did
kind
I
of
fly?
I just kind of zoned out a little bit, but it was pretty fun visiting all these different states. I hit up Reno and Vegas on my way, as I kind of encroached on the West Coast. And then I kind of vaguely had this idea of landing in California. I had a friend who had some like family and friends in California that I can kind of hang out with. So I ended up connecting with them, and then I really liked Los Angeles, so I ended up just staying.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I got some tech jobs, and I had always played cards. I don't want to say like poker specifically, but just cards through like college and fun games like Follow the Queen and
Right.
like AC Ducey and all those kind of games. But then a friend of mine, you may all know him if you follow the kind of poker industry a little bit. His name is Adam Kipnis. He's a Big Games crusher, absolute crusher. He was actually the first one to say, "Hey, I've been playing some cash games over at this casino called The Bike. You should come over and play with me." And that's when I actually just started playing poker. This was probably around the moneymaker boom, and I
Right.
didn't wasn't even really kind of aware of the moneymaker boom, but I suppose I was sort of accidentally part of that
Right.
that wave of players.
Right.
And yeah, I was just like you guys, just a cash game grinder for years, and I would just go jump in a tournament here and there, just for funsies, and I had no idea what I was doing, and I was playing it as if it were a cash game. To be honest with you, I was pretty arrogant, thinking that I was better than all these tournament players, and you
Right.
guys aren't trying to get value from these things. But I just did not
Understand.
understand
Right. Yeah.
like the kind of survival aspects of tournament poker, and I was terrible at it, and I was really arrogant about it for years.
Right.
So fast forward many years later, and it was kind of dabbling tournament poker or cash games, but mostly just cash games, and then it was right when Poker Go had started going, just really sort of in the beginning, and Nick Schulman was one of the commentators, and I watched him
He's
commentate.
he's amazing.
Uh, yeah, like a WSOP. It was probably one of the mains, and listening to him talk, I was like, man, this guy's like taking each hand, and like if you're listening closely to what he was doing, he was breaking down the hands. He was like, well, this player could do this or this or this, and he
Right.
sort of almost like subtly stack ranked how he might go about doing it.
Right.
And I was like, whoa, man, I never would have, I actually would have done something completely wrong here. And it really made me just evaluate, tournament poker a little
As a
bit
whole, yeah.
more differently. And after that, I was sort of hooked.
Wow.
I started studying, watching more of the streams, just anything that Shulman was in, I would just try to go and watch him like talk. Then I started taking tournament poker way more seriously. I actually cold stopped playing cash games probably like 3 or 4 years ago. It was probably even longer. I haven't played cash games in forever. I probably don't even know how to play them anymore. Yeah, and then just jump straight into the tournament streets and haven't looked back.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love tournament poker. It is definitely a different animal. It's trying to climb to a mountaintop every single time, and you just never get there. But sometimes you do. Sometimes you do. Actually, shame on me. Big shout out to you guys. I really really appreciate you guys.
Cheers,
Cheers to you
buddy.
guys.
Cheers for having us on.
Love what you guys are doing, and I'm gonna take this opportunity real quick. I want to go through the chat, kind of let them know how to find you guys. So real quick, underneath each of their pictures, I have their Instagram and their Twitter profiles. You can go find them. Derek is Kwan's Full on both Instagram and Twitter. It's KWANSFULL. You also see that scrolling through the chat. I have some timers set up for that. And Ty Dobbertin is same as well on both of his handles. Instagram and Twitter at Ty Dobbertin, is Tydobbertin. And at the same time, make sure you guys are following the LA Poker Roundup on both of these
Yes,
sites
thank you.
as well. The same tag as well. These guys are amazing. They've done some amazing interviews with some of our friends, like in the likes of Kevin, Matt Savage, and so on and so forth. And I think I seen you guys had Maria Ho on one time. You guys have had.
That's right.
Got Stewart, Sean Louis, there's just a lot of people.
Yeah, you had Salzburg on recently. I actually have a, real quick. I was gonna save this for later. But I actually have a bone to pick with one of your guests, Eddie Pack. I have no idea where in the channel or the I'm sorry, I don't know where in the
Oh, he wasn't that. Yeah, he was pretty recent. There you go.
yeah, I don't know where in the actual video clip the clip is at, but actually let's tune to 2604. I know exactly where it's at. So hold on, before we get to that clip. Test in the chat. Can you guys hear the mic? And you guys are gonna get a chuckle out of this. Can you guys hear this?
I did. Actually, Christian Roberts was on that final table too.
Mic check. Mic check.
6th place in the
In the
WPT
chat.
main event.
I think they've been talking back at us.
All right.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so they can hear. All right. So 2604. I'm gonna set the stage. Okay. You asked him. He's been on an absolute heater. And by the way, I absolutely love Eddie Pack. So obviously, I'm joking. And I was very fortunate enough to play with him a couple times, and just a real class act. He really is. But let me set the stage for the question that you're going to ask him. You're basically asking him, hey, how was the field at the WPT in comparison to the past ones, right? You ready? Here it is, guys.
There. So I played all 3 years that the Win has had the WPT championship, and I feel like
that I'm not hearing.
Year was probably the
You have to unmute.
out of the 3.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
So bummed.
Yeah.
Well, I know. I
I played
remember
last
that.
year,
Just
not
my
this year.
tables,
Jeez.
but-
So here, I'll rewind it just for you,
there. So
Ty.
I played all 3 years that the Win has had the WPT championship, and I feel like this last year was probably the softer out of the 3.
And I quote, this year was the softer out of the 3. Eddie, I was sitting 2 seats next to you. And I played in the championship event with you, man. I got a bone to pick with you. Next time I see you, man, Eddie, it's on site, buddy.
You got to do is you save it. Save it for when you 3-bet him or when you jam on him and when he folds.
Yeah.
When he folds, have the line ready.
Now, real cool story that I got out of that, I'll just share with you guys. You guys already know, but for the chat, he almost didn't go. He totaled his car. I actually played with him in the prime. We both made day 2, and he was 2 seats to my left. And I didn't know this story until I saw this interview that he totaled his car and almost didn't go.
Yeah, wild story.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then and by the way, he cashed the prime as well. We both cashed the prime, and then he went on and rampaged the main, finished 3rd. For a couple million. I mean, what an incredible story. And like I said, the guy's he's a class act. He's real down to earth. He's got a good head on his shoulder. Got a lot of respect for him for sure.
Yeah, no, we love talking to Eddie. Eddie's definitely a cool dude. And man, to have those kind of options right now would be.
Yeah, for
he's
sure.
He's a younger fella, so
he's been on a heater.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll tell you, I'm sure you guys do this too when you get your table draw. I pull up the names of the table. I see Eddie Pack, and I'm going through it, and I'm like, oh my God, this guy's on fire. He had 2 final tables in WSOP circuit ring events, one in, I think, Commerce, and I think one up north.
Thunder Valley, maybe?
Thunder Valley, yeah, I think Thunder Valley. I was like, this guy's on fire. And then, where I first ran into him was I played the WPT main event with him, or the WSOP main event in the summer. That's where I first ran into him. So I ran into him on day 2 there as well.
Yeah, deep run there.
Yeah, and so I seen he was running deep. I was like, I played with him. I'm definitely pulling for him. You kind of root for your table mates as you see him go late.
Yeah,
and
you like to see your chips do well.
Right, exactly. And I saw he was doing well, and I was like, man, this guy's on fire. We got to be careful with this guy. And but yeah, it was awesome to see that interview, and you guys are doing a real good job. And guys, if you guys haven't checked these guys out, again, I have the link posted up in the chat for their website, and it's gonna go. You can go through their merch, which is where it starts, which is what we're looking at right here. They got hats, they got hoodies, they got shirts. And the run good is real. I'm telling you. I have seen the final tables with these sweaters and your guys' gear. I'm like, I need one. Plus, I
Rick
wanted to
just got
support
his
you guys.
Rick just got his brand new purple hoodie last weekend, and he final tabled again. So
That's sick.
definitely,
that was a big
fresh
one, too.
gear has the best luck. That's for sure.
That's
Yeah,
good.
three final table to 1K too, and it was like a stacked field. Yeah, it's crazy. It wasn't even
was.
sort of a marketing gimmick. Like literally, people were just getting our hoodies and our hats and just
They
making
just
final
running
tables
deep.
left and right. And I was like, man, this is nuts.
Yep. Probably started with Kathy, just supporting us. But when you and
Yeah.
Jesse got your sweaters, the first weekend of them, you guys
Yeah.
made like 2 final tables or something.
Right, right.
Yeah, like back to back. And you made one. You made a. I remember you guys both made a couple final tables like real close to each other too. You guys, I think you made one final table together.
No, that was me and Frank.
Oh, it was
That
you and
me
Frank. It was you and Frank.
Yeah. Yep. And then we both got knocked out holding pocket jacks.
Oh
And
man.
no, there were a couple right before that where Derek and I were making a deep run, but
Oh gosh.
I knock Derek out tournaments early, and then he sucks out on me late.
I'll keep that. I'll keep that deal.
Yeah,
I
that's
will
kind of
keep
how it
that.
goes. So I knock him out a lot more frequently, but when it comes down to 17 left and King Jack versus King 10 or something, he tends to win those ones.
That's right.
Well, Derek's got to figure it out. You can have the ones early. I'll take them late.
Right.
When
Yeah.
it matters.
He just makes me angry more often, but then I
Yeah.
make him angry for the big money.
All right. I don't get mad. I just enjoy it a little more when I knock you out on the third, fourth bullet on the day ones.
So guys in the chat, again, I got the link up here. You can get to their YouTube channel, which we'll talk a little bit more about as well. It'll take you to this page here. Make sure you guys are subscribed on YouTube. If you guys aren't aware, subscribes are like follows here on Twitch. It's
Yep.
free to follow.
Please
free to
do,
subscribe.
guys.
Check them out. When you watch their videos, hit the like. All these things matter. Please, they would appreciate it. I would appreciate it. I promise you guys won't be disappointed. They're amazing.
And if you're free on Tuesday nights and you want more LA poker content, or you just SoCal kind of poker content for our stake level, hop on in the chat for us too. It's a good time.
Yeah, and you know what? You guys are much bigger than that. You guys, I've listened to you guys. It's not. I know you guys do the LA Poker Roundup, but you guys are talking about poker and things that matter, and tournaments and structures and how to build the game and your local ecosystem and SoCal poker. How can we do better? And I think that's what I really resonate with you guys, because you guys are thinking bigger than. You guys are thinking big picture, and
yeah, for sure. I think the theme of our, aside from the obvious LA poker, I think the real theme of our show is just Derek and I are extreme enthusiasts, working guys, right? And we're playing these mid, creeping up to the that kind of 500 to 2K price point, right? So we're kind of just like trying to represent and advocate for, quote unquote regular guys trying to grind these things and trying to have events that we want to play in, trying to have these environments we want to play in, trying to have things that get us excited, right? And that's the kind of stuff that we're trying to cover and talk about, right?
Yeah, no, and I've talked with Kevin. Speaking of, I'm actually texting him right now. He told me, text me when you go live.
Totally get in there.
And I told him I would. That's exactly who I was texting right now. So hold on, let me send this. Jesus.
Shout out to Kevin.
Yeah, he's amazing. I've literally never talked to anybody that has said anything negative about Kevin. He is an incredible.
The best.
Yeah.
Only people that are annoyed at Kevin are ones who, when he makes a ruling that they wish
Gets
wasn't
the
like
right.
that. But he's consistent and it's the right ruling. So
Yeah, and he's very he's very definitive. And as a matter of fact, and like I know he was part of that one issue with the RTA guy that was sitting next to him. I forget the two names. It was a WPT at the Gardens a few years back.
Yeah. I don't remember the name either, but I remember the picture.
Yeah, and
it started a whole bunch of conversation. I remember.
Yeah, and I talked to him about it, and he's like, "Look, you just gotta." And I've actually played in a couple tournaments, even though I'm out here. I played in a couple tournaments out there, and he's just like, "Hey, this is the way it has to be," and it's not against you or for him. It's just these are the rules, And I love Kevin. He's just an awesome guy, and I've talked with him about you guys. And when you went live, I was like, "Oh, we got to tell everybody." I was so excited to see him over on your guys' show. That's actually the first time I think I crossed paths with you guys, and you guys.
Yeah, when he was giving us the lowdown on the stream team, he brought all you guys into the chat. Loved it.
Yeah, and if you guys don't know, I got Derek Kwan and Ty Dobbertin emotes in the chat. Make sure you guys have fun with those. But I appreciate you guys being here. It's amazing. So now we talked about your guys' individual journeys. I want to get into your guys' Hendon mobs and stuff. We'll come back to that. But I want to kind of continue the journey, like how you guys cross paths. So now you guys are both in California. How do you guys cross paths? How does the LA Poker Roundup begin? I'll let you guys kind of ping pong. You guys can go either way. Who goes first?
Sure. Well, this story is probably a little less exciting than people would think. It's kind of a quick lead up, but I'll tell you the first time that I ever saw Derek, first time I knew he was, we were trying to get our first Remingtons because neither of us had one yet. And we were playing in one of the afternoon, the consolation Sunday events. I think we probably just both busted out of a day 2 of some sort at an LAPC. And I'm sitting there with Derek and I want to say probably like Alti and probably like two other folks that I sort of would now I would know them for sure, but at the time I just sort of recognized them because this was early on. Hadn't really noticed, but then one of the local bracelet winners, right? Tony, I say his last name, Tony Divones. Tony walks by and he says, "Oh God, look at this table!" Right? He says hi to Derek. He says hi to all the folks at the table. He's like, "I'm glad I'm not sitting here." And he walks by. So that was the first time that I had anyone had brought Derek to my attention because if for those of you who played with Derek, he doesn't talk, he doesn't move. Nope. He's puts his headphones on. Sometimes he puts his hood. He's got his hat all the time. I halfway think that he joined on just to come out and get a little more social with people, with the folks around here. But then on the rest of the time, I think he regrets it because he has to be. People are constantly bugging him now. But that's the first time I met Derek, right? So that was before any of this was going on. This was probably in the first 7-8 months of me starting to jump into the tournament scene around here, and I knew Tony from playing home games, some cash games during COVID. So
that's cool. So Derek, you take it from here. You guys meet up. You guys cross paths. You guys become break buddies. And how does the LA Poker Roundup be born? How does that transpire?
So interestingly, at the time, I was still finding my way around the content space. I knew I wanted to do something, and I just started vlogging, which did pretty well. Actually, I think the YouTube channel was going quite well, but it was so much work to edit a video, just like a 12, 13-minute video of me like playing poker. It took forever. And I think that the thing that was probably the biggest pain in the ass was actually just putting the hand up, like the hands. I had to go find like a pack, and I was like, oh, I can just slap the pack. And no, I can't. I actually have to drag each individual card, and they all got to get resized, and I screw one up. And there's literally like nothing that you snap into. You just have to kind of put it into, maybe things have gotten easier since then. I don't think so. And after a little while, I just kind of gave up. But it was around this time that Ty found me, so I think it was probably some combination of the fact that he seen me around, knew I was a pretty good poker player, but then also that I had some content creation, a little bit of like notoriety in the space, and he's like, "Hey, I had this idea for like this project. Do you want to kind of chat about it?" And I was like, "Sure." I'm always looking for opportunities, and yeah, it was basically his brainchild. LA Poker Roundup was his brainchild.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool.
Yeah. So that Tony coming by and saying that really helped a lot. Put a lot of instant credibility on Derek because, like I said, I didn't know a lot of the folks in the space, and to be honest, I had the number of people that were kind of following. I didn't realize he was such a snarky bastard on Twitter and had kind of a meme thing going on.
Yeah, I do. I do have like a dual personality. Yeah. Like, I'm very funny on Twitter, and I'm just very dry.
Your meme game's on point.
I didn't know any of that yet, but what I did know that Derek didn't know is that. Yes, I know editing those things is a ton of work. I know, I've done a fair amount of kind of amateur editing, and I know how much work all that is. So when I saw Derek was doing vlogs and had some up, and I knew that he was getting into that space, I kind of had the idea for the LA Poker Roundup a couple months earlier, right? I was just kind of thinking about, because I always have all these projects that I think like, oh, that'd be a great idea. And the reason that this one kind of appealed was I thought I could get away with it doing minimal work, maybe 3 hours a week tops, because as you know, when you're streaming, you get it all set up and then you just go and then you're just done. There's no editing. So, but what I needed, right, was someone else who was going to be a credible voice in the community, someone else who is knowledgeable, someone else who is passionate. And with him doing vlogs, I said, hey, this is a guy who wants to put in work to put content out on LA poker and the LA poker scene. And this is someone who's doing, so if he's doing that much work, I can probably rely on him to give me at least an hour a week, and we can make this thing consistent. Because, I'm sure you've done a lot of side projects with folks before, but when I moved out here, I did a lot of acting classes, indie movie film things, film festival type stuff, right? And on all the smaller stuff and those things, people flake like crazy, right?
Yeah.
So trying to find someone who's going to be reliable and whatnot, so is difficult. And I thought it was a pretty decent bet, poker player. I thought that someone who's willing to put that much work in to do a vlog chances were much higher that this is someone who's going to be able to be reliable. And then just seeing the getting getting that kind of affirmation from some good poker players, some good regs already, that was another good sign. So so I really did. I just like Derek said, we had never talked. Honestly, we had never talked outside the table until really I said that to him, and he said yeah. So I got his email, and I basically emailed him kind of the mission statement for the show, and he's like, hey, that sounds good. When do we start?
That's awesome. That's a cool story. And the editing stuff for my streams that I do on Sundays, I don't do edits at all because I play music on my streams. So I've even gone as far as I bring DJs into my streams and do a collab stream with them. That's fun. So for Twitch allows me to go live with music. YouTube doesn't, which is why I don't stream to YouTube. But Twitch just won't let you produce it. So as long as I don't they don't let me publish it, I should say. As long as I don't publish it, and I get my copyright warnings every time I go live, and they're basically telling you, hey, you go live, like, we know. And
streaming was difficult in its own way too, because I would stream sometimes on Sundays playing ACR, and that was kind of fun, like talking through the way I was playing hands and stuff on my channel. But it was the curation of content for vlogging that was a huge deal. Oh my god, like just to edit all those videos was crazy. But streaming was great. Oh, then OBS being a complete pain in the ass sometimes to try to figure out but then just clicking the button and going live and just talking was pretty fun.
It's a blast. I have had a blast. I've been streaming for 2.5, 3 years, and I have so much fun. You never know where the stream goes from the time you go live till the time you end it, and it's an absolute blast. And I've been very fortunate to cross paths with these people in the community. And Kevin, by the way, thank you for the sub. He must have heard he saw the bat signal. He's in the
he's
chat.
In here. All right, Kevin.
Love Kevin. I'm so grateful that he's moving on up in the world. I think you guys in the interview with him related the move is like an Otani trade for tournament directors.
Yeah, like an Otani signing for sure. And it was like a Luka trade for surprise.
I was shocked, but I think it's a huge come up for Commerce, and again, love what he's doing. But I think this that's awesome what you guys are doing. I love the pod. You guys bring up some interesting topics for debate. You guys bring up some really awesome guests. You guys are highlighting people that are doing well. Which, real quick, I'm gonna circle this into your guys' Hendon Mops while we're here on this over here on the left. Which everybody in the chat. Let me put this back up here. Here's the link. I'm gonna pin this back up. And this will get you to their homepage, which pretty much gets you to a lot of their stuff. There's their merch, and let's do some shopping.
The two main things on this is the store and the Player of the Year. Links. So
and then you got the link to the YouTube channel. I think that's epic.
Got the link to that guy. Yep.
So you click the YouTube channel, go over here, hit that subscribe button.
Absolutely, please.
And you guys won't be disappointed, I promise. Go back, check their past videos. Hit the likes on their videos. Take us to the shop real quick, and then I want to talk about your POI stuff. What's your favorite gear? I like this one right here. This one's pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the t-shirts, and I think we're still trying to settle on like what the best hat is, because the problem with doing hats has been that, or rather the problem with our logo is that it's not very embroidery friendly. Yeah. So we've had to, kind of switch over to luckily the style these days is just the big block letters for a lot of things. So we've been trying to experiment with those. Yeah. So we've been trying to experiment more with those. So still trying to settle on a great hat, because I'm a hat guy.
Me too.
I think Derek's a hat guy.
Me too.
So that's where I'm at. Because I personally, I don't like the pullovers as much. So
I'm a
that's why I've
hoodie.
been wearing less.
I'm definitely a hoodie guy. I love the
Yeah.
hoodies. It's a very interactive website. Like
Yeah.
you just hover over it
Now
and it
Derek made pretty much this entire website.
really.
I threw a couple pictures his way. I don't even know if he's using them, but he did this whole website here, and he's designed like 99% of the merch here. And hey, look, here's just something you guys may not know. He's gonna hate that I'm saying this now because he's gonna get all these requests. But if there's really something you're dying for that you see it and you're like, oh man, I would absolutely love that if one thing was different, he can customize something every now and then. Like Rick got himself, but here's the thing: once you do it, if it looks good, it's probably going on the store because Rick got himself a nice purple hoodie that he just final tabled with, and as he was wearing it around, Kevin was like, "Geez, I got to get one of those for my daughter. I got to get a few of those, and people are now they're gonna want them." So.
Yeah, somebody made a military green with like a lime green letters that looked
That's
amazing.
nice.
Another
Yeah, so
person
these-
made
Yep.
black on black, like black hoodie with black letters, and that looked really good too.
Yes.
So yeah,
So these need to go on the store, and
Yes.
yep. So
Very
we can
cool.
we can help you out if you want to get something custom. Derek might hook you up, but you're we're taking the design if it's good.
Love it, love it. Matt just showed up in the chat. We got Kevin.
Oh no way! Hey, what's up, Matt?
Tournament directing. He's at the Commerce right now in the
Beautiful.
chat. Matt Savage had a hockey game while he's in the chat. I appreciate
Oh,
you guys
that's awesome.
coming in. Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. So let's talk about the POY. This POY is very similar structure. How do we run? I was talking about how Kevin streams our monthly championship tournament for the Stream Team fam every month. And we have it's very just black and white. It's based on percentage of the field. Doesn't matter how many people get in there. And they take your top. What we do is we do like a top 10. You have to have at least like 15 tournaments, and we just take your top 10 performances. It's just a little easier to navigate. So um, that's kind of like how we build who makes the top 27, and then we have a 3-table 9-handed game, and we have a winner every month, and it's a lot of fun. So let's go to the POY. And this will definitely lead us right into what I want to talk about as far as Hendon Mob stuff. We'll get there in a second. But this is, you guys do something very similar, right? For like percentage of the field. I think I heard you talking about it.
Yeah, so we actually are using a formula that was created by this guy. So his Twitter name's AK-SAR-Ben. I'm not sure why that's his Twitter name. His name's Sandusky. I don't know if he wants us to put all his info out. His name is so weird. But he's worked on Player of the Year formulas, and he shopped Player of the Year formulas around to a couple different organizations. He's tried to get World Series pick it up. He works on payout tables for people. I think he's currently also a dealer up in Vegas. So we got his formula from him because he was trying to kind of market it. So we said, hey, we could, we're looking for a Player of the Year formula. We could kind of use it, and you could use that as an example when you're showing to other people. Like, hey, here's how it works. These guys are using it, right? And his formula takes into account, it is much more based on percentage of field than, say, absolute placement, say. But it also factors in, of course, buy-in. It factors in things like there's certain bonuses for like winning, and there's certain so there's some other knobs and there's other variables you can tweak. But yeah, it is much more percentage of the field base, which we really liked because me personally, I really thought that getting the final table of 1,000-person event should really count as much or much closer to the same amount as like winning a 70-person event, right? And I know there's a lot of formulas where that wouldn't really be the case. So, so that's the kind of formula we're using. So shout out to him. So he gave us that formula, and then what I did was I ginned up a little bit of a little Python script that would help me with the results, because as you can see there, we are now up to about 2,300 unique people. So and this is another good thing. So the other reason, so we did this for a lot of reasons, right? One, to help drum up some excitement, to give all the blasters and all the local crushers something to talk about and some bragging rights, right?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that Derek was going to go so hard at it, but you can talk about that later. Yeah. And then the other thing is, like, this gets us some data too, right? So when we're done with this, we'll roughly see, this will roughly give us a good idea of what LA fields are like, how many unique players are there out there, and this is how many unique players cashed in the events we're tracking this year, which was pretty much all the majors, and this is how many you can see how much people are cashing for on average if you want just around LA. I can
Right.
sort. I have the data. I didn't sort it I didn't store it off in too easy to do ways. I'd have to recollect it. But like if you really wanted to collect, I could see how much people
Right.
are cashing for particular venues or whatever. But anyways, so all these are really cool things for us to know and to reference and to just like get a better sense of what the LA community's like, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, the Stream Team leaderboard itself, the winner of that tournament, by the way, it gets nothing. They do a swag pack, maybe like I think it's a hat and a shirt.
Mm-hmm.
But it's war. When you make that 27, that tournament is tough. And they're playing that for all the marbles. It's serious.
Yeah.
Game,
Yeah, and it's been really popular. Even after just a month or two, we had people once we told them about it, they suddenly got very interested in it. We had a lot of the regs suddenly all very interested in where they are every month and where they are every week. Frank freaking he bugs me the second a result comes up. Hey, you
It's not
update
posted yet.
it?
Where's it at?
Yep. And I think we're going to be doing a similar thing. So we're going to go and we're going to buy a trophy. We're going to get a trophy, and we probably will throw in like a hat or something as well to rep.
Love it.
Yep. Unless Derek wins, and he's going to handle it all. If you win this, Derek, I'm no longer interested. Buy yourself a trophy.
I'm gonna get
yourself
a
a hat.
gigantic trophy.
Whatever.
That's gonna like keep the ceiling.
Yeah, whatever. You can get whatever you want because no matter what, when you talk about it, you're gonna eventually.
I'm gonna etch your face in the trophy.
You'll eventually have to admit that you bought that yourself. That's all. You can get whatever you want.
That's great. That's great. It's funny you say that because I was actually going to ask you, like, for the Player of the Year, what are you guys currently doing? So you actually led right into what I was going to ask. That's great.
Yep.
So big shout out to you guys in the chat. I appreciate you guys being here. Medi, he says, "Is it Sunday already? How long was I asleep? Because I normally stream on Sundays." Beachy, Bexkey, appreciate you guys being here. If you guys didn't know, I got some Ty Dobbertin and Derek Kwan emotes. Have fun with those in the chat. Steve-O, Ty, and Derek are in the chat, so if you guys have questions, feel free to tag them. Jason SD, my fellow Arizona player out here. ASG, appreciate you. He's very involved in the community, Twitter and the Stream Team fam. Very involved in the poker world as well. Who else we got in the chat? Kevin and Matt, again, thank you guys for being here. Bexkey, SSG, or Staff Sergeant Bobby, you guys are amazing. Really, really appreciate the support. R Runner, you guys are amazing. Bubbinator says is in the chat. I'm not sure who that is, but he says Kwan is such a goat, down to earth too. He must have been in some of your streams before. So he says you're a goat. Speaking of goats, like I said, in the bottom right corner, you see that Remington, and over Derek's right shoulder, you see that same trophy.
Hey, I got one too. Don't
he's got one over there
right?
too. Yeah, you guys both got one.
Yeah, you can't have it on that dark shelf.
Yeah, well, I just moved. I'm looking for. I gotta buy more bookshelves.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
Or just knock that back out.
So let's lead right into that. Let's go over here. I have just the way I have it layered. We're gonna start with Ty. So we're gonna talk about your guys' run. As you guys saw, Derek is leading.
Yep, there we go.
He's in second.
Now I can see it.
That's a little better.
There we go.
Very makeshift.
We got Derek in second place in the POY. We're gonna get to that in a second. We're going to start with Ty in the bottom right. You guys will see his Hendon mob. We'll scroll through here. I noticed a couple things. Looks like you got your first Hendon mob in 08, I believe. But it really looks like you really picked up steam in about 2022. You got a high score of, you got a high score of 127,100, which is, for what it's worth, if anybody's counting, a little bit bigger than Derek's high score.
Oh, is it? Jeez. I totally forgotten that. I just, man, that slipped my mind. And, I got that right down there, Mr. Cabin holding my hand over there.
I think we actually talked about this, that I was just short with my cash at the WPT.
But that was like a 5K or something. I mean, that shouldn't even count. It was a 600.
Yeah, that's a very good point. You got a total live earnings of 547,587. Massive, over $500,000 in earnings. Your big score, as you mentioned, was
at the Gardens,
Gardens.
Memorial Days ago.
Yeah, it was a Memorial Day. That's my son's birthday is right around Memorial Day. let's see. So it's right around here. There it is. Oh, $600 Memorial Day.
Yep.
$127,100 WPT event over at the Gardens. I really liked the when the WPT was going to the Gardens. You guys have talked about this a little bit. The Gardens, the bike, commerce, and when the WSOP and the bike kind of bailed for the most part. I know WSOP's back now, but I felt like it had a huge impact on the landscape there. But glad to see the WSOP circuit going back there. I think it's good for the ecosystem down there in poker in the LA area.
Yeah, absolutely. We have seen such big inflows of people when they have one of these huge series, WPT, WSOPC, all that stuff. Love it. We love it when the casinos are willing to partner up for a little bit more marketing, a little more kind of national clout, you know?
Yeah, it brings in an influx of people. They get a feel for the vibe. Maybe they stay longer. Maybe they come back. And it's, I think, COVID happened also, too. And I think that is a huge variable of things, too. And, but
yeah, no, like, so like you said, that is when I started really picking up the tournament bug, right? So I was, as I said, when I moved to LA, I was kind of focusing a little more on learning about the film industry and having fun doing like these weekend film festivals and hanging out
That's
with those
awesome.
kind of folks and doing all this stuff. And then I kind of started playing a little more poker again, start getting that itch again. You know, things kind of like cycle through your hobbies a little bit sometimes. So starting to pick back up on that. And then I went and played. I'm trying to remember if I did this on purpose or not, but then I went and I played in one of the day one flights for the LAPC, which they were running in December. I remember of, I think, 21. And I bagged up with, that's when I met Anthony Patessa. We were the only two people to bag the flight because it wasn't a huge flight. And, I just had a great time.
That's awesome.
And then I played through a lot of the LAPC that next year. So that's when a lot of these kind of early caches were, these small caches. And then I final tabled like a bounty event. And at that point, I was having so much fun playing these tournaments. I was kind of just thinking like, man, what was I doing playing cash? This is so much more fun. Like there's like everything. I like everything about these tournaments. I don't know what the heck. So at that point, I decided, I'm going to kind of switch gears. I'm going to focus on these. I'm going to do some, I'm going to try and learn this, focus on this. Right. And then, as you said, COVID happened. Yeah. So basically I said, okay, well, that's that. I can't do that. So we went back, played wherever we could, started unfortunately playing in some home games during COVID, played a little bit. Just wherever you could, start playing the plexiglass when
right. That was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so weird.
After COVID, then the tournament started to trickle back in, started to jump back into those, had to shake the dust off, but yeah, started really just focusing almost entirely on tournaments. I mean, I think I went from playing like 98% cash to playing like 95% tournaments, right? So. Yeah. And then once I had a decent hit, once I won this Remington, once I had a couple of decent scores, like it was just like no going back,
And so was the Remington, was that this one right here, the Action 8, the 350?
No, the Action 8's this
okay.
Commerce Hold'em series
like
right here.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the Commerce Hold'em
the
series.
Classic, the LA Poker Classic, the 360.
Yep, it's got to be. It's got to be a LAPC for the Remington, and that I believe that was a Sunday, one of the one days, and I was actually kind of annoyed because I was this close. I got third place in like one of the last ones of the event, so I almost got two in one series. That would have been great.
It is. Yeah, I see
remember it. Still, I had there was final three. They were talking about chopping, but I wanted to win, so we kept playing, and I got it all in with. I think I was like second in chips, and I got it all in with the guy who was first in chips. We were all pretty tight the last three, and I had like top pair and he had like middle pair, and I'm like, yes, I'm gonna do this. And of course he spiked, and then after that they chopped. He got the trophy, but I'm like, dang, I was that close to getting the second one. You know how it is.
That's sick. Yeah.
So
that's sick.
Yep.
No, but that's awesome, man, and you're killing it, man. Keep crushing. Let me ask you this, and then we'll go to Derek. There's a lot of the Club WPT community that's out there, and they're just at the very kind of going back to when we just kind of started diving into live tournaments, and Some of them don't have much live experience at all. A lot of them are coming from like the free roll kind of mentality of tournament poker and coming into this. And what advice would you give them, new people coming into poker, for the deep runs that you're having, whether it's multi-day tournaments, just any advice that you would give them?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if you're like an online player, and particularly like a new online player, could be like going into a casino is going to be overwhelming for sure. So what I would say is step one is if you are looking for, if you're looking to transition, I would suggest doing things that are going to help you get acclimated to playing live and to being in the live environment and being used to the distractions and being used to just the logistics and
Right.
just the mechanics of it, right? Like literally, if you don't play live, handling chips is going to be weird. Counting chips is going to be weird. It's like driving a car, right? Now that we're all good at driving cars, you can do all the stuff. You can see, you can notice people turning, you can notice light
Right.
changing, you can see the sign and read it without looking. But when you first started, you couldn't do anything. You were paralyzed. Every little thing took forever. You have to read every sign. You're not familiar with anything, right? So you can't play good poker while you're thinking about all that. So if you are pure online and kind of new and you want to do cash, I would recommend, it's going to cost you some money no matter what you do. So I would start low, either go into like the lowest cash game possible just to get used to like, what's it like to sit at a table? What's it like to be dealt cards how do you follow the action? Or go and play some of the lower tournaments first. Especially like, I can't imagine if you're like an online only player and you're not used to playing live at all. And like, you just want a very first thing, I'm going to go to the World Series and play bracelet events, like right off the bat. Like if you've never played live, I can't imagine doing that. So I really recommend, if you've never played live and you want to go from online to live, go in there, start low, just consider it like kind of training, literally just like driver's lessons, right? Like don't jump into the Ferrari right away. Just get in there, have a driver's license, do your driver's test, get used to where the pedals, which, all that stuff. Then you can go back and do your regular thing. From there, I would say if you can have a really honest assessment of what kind of events you're playing online are, you may want to try and get the advice of someone like Derek, like me, like what is a equivalent live event? Right. Because like a free roll is going to be a lot more like, the lowest stakes dailies, right? But if you're online playing $100 buy-ins, you may not want to play dailies right away, or you might be shocked and you honestly might do really badly and get really mad. So if you're playing $100 Sunday events, you may want to just wait and jump into one of the bigger series, right? So
I'm going to go ahead and say YOLO into a World Series event, take advantage of that beginner's luck. Ship a bracelet and make everybody super mad and be like at the interview, you're like, this is my first live tournament ever. Is it this easy to win bracelets? You're gonna piss everyone off. It'll be amazing.
right. The chat's we got a good question that Kwan's was like, Kwan's full was like, don't get us started. What's the deal
we have
with
like 15 episodes devoted to Kwan.
It's I said it in your guys' chat. I'm not a fan of them. Somebody else asks, are you guys fans of the Savage Average? Have you guys gotten to play any of those yet?
Derek has.
What was your
have? The one that I played was a bit shallow and I felt very restricted, but I'm going to say that the theory behind the Savage Average is amazing. So for people that aren't familiar with it, the Savage Average basically seeks to keep the average stack the same all the way through the tournament. And what they do is I forgot if it was like maybe every like level or two or something, or at some certain
as
points.
People get knocked out,
like a percentage of the field. And
it wasn't as people get knocked out, they were like checking. I remember Kevin was maybe basically doing it at some specific benchmarks, but in any case, you're roughly around the same average all the way through. So instead of having 200 effing big blinds in the beginning, which is like stupid, right? And then 10, 15 big blind average towards the end, right when all the money matters. That's really dumb. So what Matt came up with was something that sort of forces the issue of making sure that you maintain that, really playable stack, whether it's 30 bigs, 40 bigs, all the way through. Maybe there needs to be some tweaking where maybe a final table at 40 bigs average seems like crazy and it would go on forever. But the theory behind it is fantastic, and I really think this is really just like the spirit of how tournament should be.
Right. It shouldn't be a crapshoot at the final table when it matters, when all the money's on the line. And when you get down, sub 20 big blinds, even in a live tournament, you can see this, but especially online, even more so. I mean, you're lucky if there's a 10 big blind average at a final table on these some of these online tournaments, and it's just like But yeah, I really like the concept behind it as well. I think it's brilliant. But yeah, so this
So
is
I know somebody asked about double bags, and like literally, if you get me and Ty started, we'll just be yelling in about like 3 minutes, and we'll be yelling for about 15 minutes. But
Yeah.
I'll just try to be succinct in how these things work. So basically, a lot of tournaments these days have multiple day ones, and you can think about them as like a feeder tournament that gets you into a day two, right?
almost
So
like a
you have to win
Sadie.
it.
Day
Yeah,
ones
it's it's
almost feel
it's
like a satellite.
Quantums, day ones are exactly saddies, except
Yeah.
they're worse because 2/3 of the people get fewer chips than average.
Right,
right.
right,
But basically, what you're doing is you're playing day one. If you can't make it, play another day one. You can't make it, play another day one until you can finally qualify for a day two. And the brilliant people, okay, I won't kind of tag where the where
You can guess. I have a guess where it started.
where maybe the most egregious of the implementation is, but basically what people started doing is incentivizing you to fire more bullets even if you've already qualified, and they
right.
give you a double bag bonus. And this can be something in the range of like $1,000, $2,000. We had this ridiculous one for a $1,000 buy-in. They had an $8,000 double
My
bag bonus, which is the
goodness.
most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
My
But
goodness.
what they're trying to do is just incentivize you to play more. But
Right.
what this really effectively does is it removes money from the prize pool. So
Yeah.
basically, and just pays it out as a day one. So even though it does go to the players, if you think that you're playing for $1 million prize pool on a day two, actually 200K, 250K has been removed already. Now you're playing for 750K, right?
Right.
And that money has been paid out to all the double bag qualifiers. Sometimes people, double bag 4 or 5 times, right? And then they get all this money and all these crazy payouts. So this is why we dislike the double bag bonuses. It just incentivizes people to fire day ones, and it almost artificially boosts prize pools to make it look
Right.
bigger than they really are.
Right.
Yep,
Eh,
it lets them do a type of accounting where they can say their guarantee is bigger and their prize pool is bigger than than actually it really is, than
It's-
for real.
Right.
Right.
And then the other part that's usually a little weird to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but oftentimes you'll see you can buy in on the day two, which we all agree is effectively day one. And it's at a different price point, which is fine, but you also get a different amount of chips even. Is that right?
So typically they're best bag forwards in
No, no,
these
no, no. I'm talking
situations.
about if you just buy into day two.
Oh, for the day two buy-in, right? So now you're talking about quantums. So the day two
Okay.
buy-in is a fixed amount, and what it is, it's typically the average stack from those day ones going
Okay.
forwards.
Gotcha.
So like if you get 30,000 in chips to start and 10% bag, typically you'll get 300K
right.
when
to
you
start.
buy in
Okay.
direct to day two. Now they've experimented with that a little recently, but typically that's how it is. Yeah, they had one just recently where you only got a third of that stack, but the buy-in was a little less than typically
Right.
it would be. So
A lot of
Interesting.
people don't like the direct day two buy-ins because this isn't like a late reg, right?
Right.
This is literally you're buying into a day two where a bunch of people qualified already,
Yeah.
and you get like 70 big blinds, right? When a lot of people have 20 or 30 big blinds.
Yeah.
And this really benefited pros with deep pockets.
Right,
And
right.
a lot of amateurs did not like this. I think that it still needs to be seen from data how often these day two buy-ins actually made final tables and stuff. And like, to be fair, for you to be able to make your money back, typically you're gonna have to finish in the top 20 something, right?
Right.
To even make your money back.
Right.
But it still felt a little bit unfair to just be able to, skip all the day ones, just go right into day two and start playing, really close to the money.
Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting. That's a good point. Really appreciate all the insight you guys are giving. You guys are absolutely amazing. Again, guys, make sure you're following them on all the platforms. Ty Dobbertin on Instagram and Twitter. Also, Kwan's Full on Instagram and Twitter. LA Poker Roundup on both of those and on YouTube. I got the website up top. Now let's talk about this POI chase that Derek is on right now.
Yep.
And his hand in mob. Now he doesn't have you on the high score because yours is 124.
127.
124 79.
That's
for Derek.
ridiculous. What a ridiculous difference.
You guys are
27,
within like
124.
What is that? Let's
2K
see.
is just-
2K. Yeah, that's crazy. However, Derek, you do have the leg up on the total.
Yeah, but
live
you know,
rates.
look, I think he started earlier than me, and
He was already ready for what I was going to say next.
yeah, I think he started earlier than me, and also, I think that so when you bring up the POI again, you'll see we started out strong. I started out kind of ahead of him, and
Here
then
we go.
there's-
Here we go.
yeah,
He's
there appears to be
absolute
some
fire.
kind of thing going on here. All right, Derek for a lot of last year was complaining and whining so loudly, and the group chat was full of nothing but how unlucky he was. And I was doing pretty decently, throughout most of the year in the end.
Just
And then all of a sudden in December, Derek rips these things off, starts ripping off some events, and then you scroll around to January, wins his first Remington. And all of a sudden now I'm having trouble winning and winning the flips and getting through. So I feel like something out there is like saying that the LA Poker Roundup, we can't both win at the same time. Because I had it. I had it first. I was ahead of him. If you go through the Player of the Year tabs, I was ahead of him for a while. And ever since December, he's just like taking all of the LA Poker Roundup luck. But you know what? When the World Series comes around,
it can't turn around then.
I think you're done. It's gonna flip so hard because I think I'm okay. I'm gonna have the Baby Run Good coming.
I think I'm okay actually having you taking the circuit event, and then I'll just take the actual summer events.
No, I'm sorry. It's not how it's gonna work. Sammy assured me I was gonna win a big tournament in July, or because of Baby Run Good. So that means
what's that movie? What's that movie? There can be only one. What is that one?
Highlander.
This is Highlander.
Yeah.
LA's version of Highlander.
Yeah.
That's great.
But actually, if you look at my Hendon Mob, if you go to the stats, you can actually see what I was saying a little bit earlier, where my first recorded cash was 2008.
Yeah, you guys both it's funny because it was all the same thing. Your first Hendon Mob was the same. Yeah. You had a little bit in between from 08 to 2022, but at 2022, same thing. It looks like you just went to the moon.
Actually, if you scroll up a little bit to where those tabs are, there's a tab called
you can
stats
sort by year.
Yeah.
Or rather, it'll consolidate the years.
Right.
Yeah, it's actually funny with us talking to a lot of our kind of local contemporaries here. It was surprising to me to see how many of us started switching to tournaments results, at the same time.
Right on top of the results, there's if you go to where the results
down
start,
a little. Yep, down a little.
There's online results and there's stats. It's the third tab.
All right. Let me see.
If it's too narrow, it might be under the more drop down.
Yeah. Scroll down a little bit more.
Yep, there.
Right
yep.
there.
Yeah, you've got it open. Yep.
Oh, okay. Oh, there it is. There it is. I see it.
So you can actually see if you scroll down a little bit. So 2008 is when my first cashes were, and I was telling you a little bit earlier. I was just clicking buttons in tournaments, and you can see, I was actually playing really low limit tournaments and just stabbing around and cashing here and there for nothing. Then I had those 2 good years, and those 2 good years were actually really 2 tournaments that I final tabled in 2013 and 2014. Yeah, and most of that money just came from 2 tournaments where I final tabled, and I was like, oh, I'm hot shit. But I still had no idea what I was doing. But then I took a little bit of a break from poker for a bit, and then, kind of jumped back in 2018, 2019, played a little bit. I was still sort of on a break, kind of. I was out to the series a little bit, but wasn't really playing that many tournaments.
And then COVID happened as well.
Then COVID. And then 2021 was really when the Nick Schulman stuff started, kind of piquing my interest, and that's when things took off, and that's when I started taking tournaments more seriously, understanding tournament strategy more seriously, and now I think the results are kind of reflecting my focus. Yeah,
that's awesome. Nick Schulman is so great. I love his commentary with Ali, and they're like, I don't know, Ali's just so good at needling him a little bit, and he just cracks back real quick, and he's funny.
I never realized how big of a man crush you had on Schulman, man. I knew you liked those guys as commentators.
Guy is, he's amazing. Yeah.
That's cool. He's a hell of a player. He's book him for the Hall of Fame. He's just I don't think he's 40 yet. I think
this is his year. I think he gets up for vote. I think, right?
Yeah. And on that, real quick, I think the WSOP's got to widen their Hall of Fame. Matt Savage got to get in, and not even just I'm a huge Matt Savage fan, but there's a bottleneck that's happening with all these crushers that are turning 40 that are shoo-ins to make the Hall of Fame. They're only allowing 1 in. It's just going to bottleneck.
Silly. Yep. So they're already bottlenecked. It's definitely a problem. Definitely a problem.
Yeah. So I think that I'd like to see them change that. Maybe with the change of ownership. Maybe I don't know how that works. I know GG bought the WSOP. I don't know. Did they buy? Because Caesar owned the Hall of Fame.
Here's something radical. Look, Savage, you still in the chat? WPT, just do your own Hall of Fame and totally usurp the World Series one. They're behind. They're slow. They're stupid. Take it. Start with theirs, and just when you announce it, just announce an extra 20 people that are just in, and then you can break this bottleneck. I mean, let the WPT curate it. There'll be 2 Hall of Fames. Who cares? Yours will be the better one, because if they won't do it, just you guys want to win on everything anyway. Just take it.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I don't think they have a Hall of Fame. I think they have something that's similar. They have like an honors award or something like that. I could be wrong. If Savage, if he's out there still, let us
Yeah,
know.
I'm advocating they just like
I,
usurp the whole Hall of Fame. They
I
just
like
say,
it.
this is the poker Hall of Fame, and maybe they call it something slightly different. This is the poker Circle of Legends or something, whatever.
Yeah,
And then they just take all the names, they take everybody, and they start it with the right number and the right people in, and then they have a better system. That's what I think.
yeah, yeah. I like it. Going back to you, Derek. Your big score was the 2750. Or no, it's a 27 plus 250. It's a 3K WPT World Championship at the Win. That's when I first officially personally met you at the Win.
That's right.
What an epic event. I'll tell you, I'm never gonna miss that event. I've been to all three, and it is a really special event. It's both in two parts. The WPT side of it, they're extremely personable. They make you feel warm and like family. And then the win side of it, they do an absolutely amazing job. It's just a match made in heaven. I hope that event doesn't go away.
Yeah, it's a world-class series. It's
Yeah.
so pleasant to play there. It's so well run. Obviously, Matt Savage running anything is going to be super well run.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fantastic event. Everyone should try to get out there and play. They have a couple of the lower buy-in events too that you can play. Definitely get out there and give it a shot.
Yeah, for sure. So you final table the main event. It looks like no. Was this
Or
the
no.
main event? No. This was the 3K.
Oh, it's a 3K. I wish I
Yeah,
final
It's
table
just the
the main event.
consolation
Oh,
event.
yeah.
And for almost 125K, how did that feel, man? You're running deep in this tournament. Like, when did it get like real for you guys? And for all these events, when does it become like, okay, I got a shot at this thing,
It's so interesting. Yeah, I don't want this to sound like I'm, I don't know, being arrogant or something, but it's just I've gone deep so often and I've made final tables so often that like even a bigger one, it doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't register. It's almost like part of me is thinking like this, oh my gosh, there's all this money up top and I should be worried about it, but I'm just kind of not. And I'm almost just focusing on the specific hands that I'm playing and just trying to make the right decisions. And it's almost like afterwards, but I can get a little bit of breathing room when I kind of realize, oh, well, that was a pretty big pay jump, right? And even when people were getting busted out, I was just like, I wasn't really even thinking about the pay jumps. It was $700,000 up top, right? That would have been like, that basically would have doubled my earnings. Right, my
That's
my
Yeah.
my earnings right
Yeah.
there,
That's crazy.
and it just wasn't something that I was thinking about. But basically, as we're getting down pretty deep, um, the field was really stacked. I mean, it should be obvious. Like, all the pros are out there for WBT. All the people who busted
Right.
out of the main were playing this
I think
3K.
Hendricks won that one, didn't he?
Yeah, Hendricks won it. I mean, it
I
was
played with Hendrix.
yeah.
He's
I mean,
I'll tell you, I played with him once at the WSOP one year, and it was him, and I played with Ryan Reese. Ryan Reese was to my direct left, and Adam Hendricks was across the table from me. He was in the one, I was in the three, and Reese was in the four. I'm telling you, I swear on you, I have never played at any table ever where somebody just demolished every single person at the table like Hendricks did, and he actually bust Ryan Reese in that tournament. It was one of the most incredible showings I've ever seen anybody put on. He's a beast.
yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, it was him. He obviously won it, and he played. You know what? He didn't. It was interesting. It didn't seem like he was getting too out of line, and I think sometimes a lot of people have this misnomer of just crushers or these people that are just
Just
outrageously aggressive and they do
right.
all these crazy things.
They're
But a
calculated.
lot of people just play like sort of within a specific frame. They're obviously, making the appropriate bluffs when they need to, but they're not really getting super out of line and reckless. And a lot of these are the same people that are going to finish very consistently up top, right? And I think
Right.
Hendricks played exactly like that. Becker was there. Tamayo didn't make the final table, but he was at my table, kind of going down the stretch there too. And Justin, what's his name, the high stakes cash guy. A lot of really good players in that tournament. But
Justin Young.
Justin Young,
Just
yeah,
young, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So it was really funny because I was actually also like not joking. I was running really bad in that tournament. Like was like getting no hands. I think I was stuck around like 15 bigs from like 80 people all the way down to the final two tables. And then
Just
really
kept playing.
interestingly, I played maybe 4 to 5 hands all the way through the final like 2.5 tables. All of them went all in. All of them got called, and I won every single one. But it was only like those 5 hands, and I folded everything else, and that's basically why I made the final table. So tournament poker is just so funny. Sometimes you just don't
It
know
is
what
crazy.
path you're gonna take to get there, right?
Right,
Yep.
right.
Yep,
Kind of to
yep.
the point of what Ty was talking about earlier. He knocks you out early, you knock him out late, and
Yeah, that's
He's
right.
good at all ins late in tournaments. That's a
that's
pretty good skill.
that's
Yeah,
what
it's a
you
good
got to
skill.
win.
Yeah.
Those are the
Um,
flips you got to win.
yeah. And to to kind of jump on his response there about what you're thinking late in a tournament, right? I think it's with the volume that we've been putting in the last years, right? Just that amount of volume. To his point that we've kind of you get put in certain situations often enough, right? That it's more so that kind of thinking of like, oh man, I could do this or I could win that. We've 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 had those thoughts the first couple times we get to a spot, and then you've lost them so many times. We know that that's not a thought that's productive. We know, like, I can't tell you the number of times it's like, oh man, there's like 30 people left. I've got all the chips. And then you just don't even final table, right? Or like, oh man, we just broke to two
Yeah.
tables. I just won this huge pot. I'm the chip leader. And then you're out like two people later, right? So we know that's nothing to get excited
Right.
about. There's never a time you can feel safe, right? This is
Right.
no limit
No.
hold'em. So
Yeah.
as to Derek's point, you need to focus on
Right.
this hand. You need to focus on the
One
next
hand
hand.
at a time.
You got to be careful because if you relax and you start thinking, as like in rounders, if you start thinking about the mirage, you are out,
Right,
right?
right,
So
right.
so there's no time to start thinking those kind of thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm also gonna say like your nerves get dulled after a little while because you just get bad beat and like horrible spots for a ton
You
of
get
money.
numb to
You
it,
just
right?
become like dead inside, right? So at that point, it's like, yeah, here I am. Something bad could happen, something couldn't happen, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't we do this? I want to see if you. I have one more question for you, but I want to see Derek if you have any words of wisdom for any of these guys in the chat that are just getting out there, getting their feet wet, and even for the guys, gals that are playing out there and grinding and hustling live. What advice would you give them?
Definitely take some time to learn some of the technical aspects of poker. That doesn't necessarily mean you got to jump right into solver world and run sims like,
Right.
8 hours a day trying to figure stuff out. But go and seek a bunch of the free content that's out there. Some
Absolutely.
really good sites are like Upswing Poker, right? There's some good streamers like Brad, just watch them
Yeah.
play,
Yeah.
right?
I
And
can
just
count the number of hands I've run in a solver on one hand.
right. Well, Ty's a very successful tournament player, and he's not a solver guy. And there's actually multiple guys that aren't solvers, right?
Right.
Jesse Lonis is one of the best, tournament players in the world, and the guy is very anti-solver. That being said, I
Becker.
do think that solvers have a place, and Becker too, right? After playing with Becker, I'm not 100% sure I believe him, but maybe if we take what he says at face value, like he doesn't have a
Right.
computer or something, maybe sure.
He listens to people who run solves.
Yeah, probably. Or he's probably just played so many of those tournaments now that he's observing what they're doing, and he's probably just doing some solvers things without really even realizing he's doing it,
That's
right?
probably.
So the technical parts are important because it's about building a baseline. You're probably, if you're a newish player, you probably have a billion pre-flop leaks, and pre-flop leaks are really important because they have this multiplicative effect.
Yeah, they compound. Yeah.
Yeah, all of a sudden you're just in this horrible spot post flop, and then you ask a pro what they should do, and they're just like, you should have folded pre-flop. And you sort of roll your eyes at it, but it's really good advice because if you don't understand your pre-flop ranges and what you should be doing in position, out of position, at certain stack sizes, you're going to put yourself into a world of hurt post flop, right?
I
And
feel
that's just
attacked.
well, Ty, so the thing is though, like Ty is a good example of somebody who splashes around too much pre-flop, but he's very good playing post-flop.
Post-flop.
So until you get into like that amount of like post-flop skill, you got to be a little bit careful with your pre-flop ranges. And I'm going to say also when Ty's at pretty tough tables, he definitely tightens up a little bit, right? He doesn't splash around as much as he does with
No,
fish.
no, still open all the crap.
But like basically that's it. You kind of have to work at your game these days at poker. You can't just show up and just
Right.
like, it's like
Luck
the
box
old,
your
like,
way.
old
Yeah.
West and, like luck box your way into it. You have to put in a little bit of work, but don't just sit there and stay at home and study all the time. Go and play. You have to experiment. Like, Ty was
Absolutely.
saying a little bit earlier, especially with like live tournaments, you kind of have to get out there and like sort of experience it to really kind of understand what it feels like, get used to it. I myself actually spent a lot of time in solvers and learning things. They have, especially for people who who feel like studying and running sims and just watching videos is really dry, GTO Wizard and even DTO Poker are trainers. And what they do is they just have these manufactured scenarios that you just play, and then they score you based on how you play. So it's almost like you're playing poker within a simulation, and it's kind of scoring you and telling you what you did right or wrong. That's a fantastic way to learn if you're a more practical learner. But I think all that is to say is that you do have to put a little bit of work in the game, definitely focus on some of the technical aspects so that you have a strong baseline, and from there just start playing.
Absolutely. Great advice. I really, really appreciate you guys coming on. We're going to wrap here, I think. Ty, I know it's been a long day. He's out there grinding in the streets of on the felt, but he's out there grinding, hustling in his 9 to 5 too. So appreciate you guys coming on. It really means a lot to me. What I really like too about you guys is you guys kind of feed off each other. You guys are, I could tell you guys are very competitive, and you guys kind of use that to fuel each other when you're running deep, when you're not, when you're struggling. And I think that relationship that you guys have, I think you guys have both been able to. It's like a synergy that you guys have. I could feel it from you guys, and I think it's really cool.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think we got really lucky here because, like I said, we hadn't talked before. Probably the first time we ever talked for more than 10 minutes was our first episode. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
So love it. If anything, the one thing that we could use more of is when we bring up a topic or a subject, we tend to agree a little too much. So we just have to split up our points to talk about instead of debating. It's more like, okay, well, we think similar things. Let's just take halves.
Some of our most engaged episodes are when we actually had differing opinions on something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a good point, because then you get the audience to engage on both sides of it, not just sometimes if everybody agrees, it just becomes a little bit of an echo chamber, and there's no balancing of the discussion. But I did put Ty's links back or information in the chat again, guys. Make sure you follow him on Instagram and Twitter. It's at Ty Dobbertin, TYDOBBERTIN. And then putting Derek's in there right now. Make sure you guys are following him on Twitter and Instagram as well, at Kwan's Full, same name on both, KWANSFULL. Also, make sure you're following the LA Poker Roundup on both sites. Search just LA Poker Roundup on YouTube. If you go to their website, which is pinned up top, it actually just disappeared. We're gonna put that back here. Actually, hold on. I put Ty's link and then his emotes. So I gotta put your emotes now, Derek. I gotta drop your emotes in there. And then let me put this link back in here for the swag. It has more than just swag here. Their player of the year, if you want to see who's doing well around town in LA. And then their YouTube channel. Definitely make sure you guys hit that follow. I would appreciate it. They would appreciate it. It's free to follow, y'all. Again, man, I really, really appreciate you guys. You guys didn't have to do this, and I'm very, very grateful for you guys' time today. You guys have any closing thoughts, and we'll go from there?
No, man. I mean, thanks for the opportunity coming on. This is like super fun. Always great to network, and also it was fantastic meeting you. You're an amazing presence in the poker community.
I appreciate that.
And I'm definitely gonna start watching your streams a little bit more.
Cool, man. Appreciate you, man. It's different, man. It's I'm playing the air guitar. I'm playing. You might see some karaoke. And by the end of the night, I usually don't drink when I'm in the tournaments, but when I'm out, I'll have a few. And,
usually I'm on the grind on Sundays, but I'll be able to just
totally
tune in at the table, and I'll talk a little bit of shit in the chat.
Yeah, there you go.
Bring it. Sogo
right.
5 in the chat. Appreciate you. First time chat. If you guys are first time chats, please hit that follow. I would appreciate it. Ty, anything else?
Yeah, no, just echo that. Thank you very much, man. It's always fun. It's fun to be on the other side of the table, so to speak. Here, it's definitely cool. Always good to hang out, and we appreciate you, and we appreciate all of the good energy you guys are throwing around. It's great to really happy. Not only is Kevin a great tournament director, he gathers a lot of great people around him. We are looking forward to seeing you guys. Hopefully, I'll meet up with you at the World Series or something this summer. Maybe on a weekend.
There's
potentially.
There's an outside chance. Crossing my fingers.
All right.
I could be
rooting for you.
Commerce
At the circuit maybe.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have 2 friends from the Club WPT Stream Team fam that won WSOP circuit rings and have a seat in the TOC.
Okay. Well, then let's go. Let's
So
go. We'll
there's
see you at the circuit.
Outside chance that I might just be there just to be on the rail.
All right, I got you. Because I highly doubt I'll at the December WPT. As I've alluded to, I've got my first little one coming on the way
Baby run
later
good.
this summer. So
Congratulations,
second
buddy.
half of this
Congrats,
year,
man.
I may be a little busy, a little tired, a little bit
Understandable.
predisposed.
Well, congrats on the baby. The baby run good's real. It's real. So
Yep. It's coming just the right time to get me some bracelets.
appreciate everybody in the chat. Thank you guys all so much for being here. That's a wrap. Much love to Derek and Ty and what you guys are doing. You guys are amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. And stay tuned for next Saturday. I will have a very special guest. She is absolutely amazing. She is hilarious. Nikki Lima will be here. I'm really
awesome.
excited.
She's fantastic.
She's
Her
hilarious.
latest video is fire.
Oh my goodness. It's
So funny.
So good. Where she's like talking as personalities with all the
most
different
hated hands
hands.
support group or something like that. It was great. Yep, she's great. That's awesome.
She's amazing.
We'll definitely have to tune in.
Yeah, but make sure you guys tune into their chat. What do you guys take us out? When's your next channel? When do we need to check you guys out for your next stream?
Yep. So we are typically on Tuesday nights. Plan is to be on Tuesday night again this following week, and we usually start at about 9. So keep your eyes peeled. Once you subscribe, hit that notification bell,
Hit that
and
bell.
we usually have that thing scheduled, around 8:30, so you'll know for sure what time we're starting. So every Tuesday at 9, roughly, though.
Yeah, my other channel, 10-Minute Poker Tips, is not live. I just basically drop episodes typically every Monday and Thursday. So if you want to come in, listen to a bunch of different poker players, talk about poker, about industry, about poker strategy, about all this good stuff, mental game. It's a pretty fun channel, little bite-sized 10, 12-minute videos.
Let me do this real quick. I totally forgot about this.
No
man.
worries,
And I
bud.
actually have it in your shout out that I have in the chat.
Thanks, buddy.
10-minute poker tips. It's 10-minute poker tips, right? With Derek
Yeah.
Kwan?
It's still a pretty new channel, so it might be a little bit hard to find, but
I had it up here. Here we go. Here it is.
what is up, everyone? It is another
So here
episode.
is 10-minute poker tips. Make sure you guys hit that follow, subscribe. I actually was not subscribed. Shame on me. I got it now. I am officially in the crew.
Thanks, buddy.
Let's go.
Hit
Thank
the
you.
10-minute poker tips. Appreciate it. Stay with me, you just guys, for 60 seconds after the call, just before I end the Zoom. And appreciate you guys. We're out. Love you guys.